Rudy Giuliani, that's right. We're not done with him. And if you saw the news cycle, you would know that it's not a good look, especially this time. It's a stomach churning sexual abuse lawsuit that's been filed against the former attorney for Donald Trump. And the allegations here, 70 pages of a legal complaint filed yesterday. And generally, we do not identify the names of sexual assault victims, but the plaintiff has decided to bravely make her name public. Her name is Noelle Dunphy, and we're gonna put up a picture of her here, and you can see her not particularly comfortable sitting next to Rudy Giuliani. She's suing him for $10 million based on allegations of sexual assault and harassment, wage theft, and other misconduct. Now, Dunphy says she was an emotionally vulnerable domestic violence victim when Giuliani hired her as a director of business development for his firm. Now, during their time together, she captured numerous audio recordings of Giuliani that really bolster her case, that's for sure. And here's a little bit of her lawsuit. From the start, Giuliani worked aggressively to hire her, offering her a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to work for an annual salary of $1 million as his director of business development, Noelle Dunphy alleges. But that $1 million pay had to be deferred, of course, since we know Giuliani is broke. And he said it has to be deferred until after his divorce settlement with his third wife. Giuliani reached a divorce settlement in December 2019, but Dunphy said all she got from Giuliani were a few cash payments totaling $12,000 to cover living expenses. He still owes her $1.98 million, she says. But one thing he also definitely gave her seems to be extensive trauma. Yeah, that's right. He was supposed to represent Dunphy in her legal fight involving claims of domestic violence against her, it seems, ex-partner in some way. But she says he never did that. Instead, he forced her to settle it, and then he also forced himself on her. The 70-page filing details multiple instances of sexual harassment and assault, including accusations that Giuliani forced Dunphy to perform oral sex on him at his Upper East Side apartment. And while he took phone calls, Giuliani aggressively pursued a sexual relationship with Dunphy, the filing says, and made clear that satisfying his sexual demands was a requirement of her job. He continually pressured her into sex and was unconcerned about whether Dunphy had given consent, the complaint says. Before we jump more into this, I will definitely tell you, as an expert in the sexual harassment area, that sexual assault is included under the umbrella of workplace sexual harassment. It also is included under the umbrella of criminal laws, as we know, and other civil laws, but it's not okay. And also quid pro quo, a pay for play kind of thing, that also is not okay. It's very much legal. The problem I can foresee Dunphy running into, even though I'm sure her lawyers are on it, is the size of whatever Giuliani's firm was, because if it's not big enough, it won't be protected under the Civil Rights Act. And so they might have to seek some kind of, just some kind of remedy under other state law theories. But still, it does not take it out of the fact that the things she alleged are not okay and they're wrong. And unfortunately, they don't in any way shock me knowing how Giuliani has really shaped up to be a person. Rayyvana, are you shocked?
Oh, not at all. This is, very believable behavior from Rudy Giuliani. It's also unfortunate that this type of sexual harassment, either quid pro quo sexual harassment like it is in this case, or hostile work environment sexual harassment are so common today. And there's been so many points in our history where I think as a society we've thought this is the moment where we've moved on. This is the moment where we've decided to end workplace sexual harassment. I know that there was a moment during the Anita Hill hearings that people really thought this is bringing attention to it. This is going to stop it. And then in the 2017, 2018, at the height of the Me Too movement, people really believed it was ending there, but it hasn't, unfortunately. I've been working in the employment law clinic for the past couple of years for my school, doing sexual harassment claims. It's not gone. And there's so many people who don't, and we mentioned that it's unusual to say the name of the victim. They don't want to bring that kind of attention on themselves. And the repercussions that even, making the accusation, especially true accusations, can follow them after they leave that job. And if people sue their employer, unfortunately in the future, other employers are gonna think, oh, this person is litigious, maybe we don't wanna hire them and take on that burden. Even if the thing that they were suing for happened, even if they were the victim of sexual harassment in the workplace. So it is really brave of this woman to put her name forward, and hopefully it can inspire people to do the same. And we really need to remove the stigmatization of the victims in these cases.
Absolutely, and we have to remove it too, in part because we do have the explanation here that she had just gone through an abusive relationship and partnership. So she was probably extremely vulnerable. And to have her own economic independence and to have this job working for this individual who is very esteemed and has his reputation and his connections, she probably was under the thought that I have to endure this in some way. And she was not necessarily thinking in a healthy place, but that doesn't mean she's any less the victim. And there's also some pretty interesting aspects of her lawsuit, because as I mentioned, there were a lot of recordings there. So check out this headline from MSNBC. Yeah, that's right. Giuliani offered to sell pardons and split money. Dunphy has some words about these alleged pardons for sale. She says this in her complaint. Giuliani also asked Ms. Dunphy if she knew anyone in need of a pardon, telling her that he was selling pardons for $2 million, which he and President Trump would split. He told Ms. Dunphy that she could refer individuals seeking pardons to him so long as they did not go through the normal channels of the Office of the Pardon Attorney, because correspondence going to that office would be subject to disclosure under the FOIA. Now, this could add bad news for the former president, even though it's kind of like, well, I don't know what else could be piling on. It's like, get out of here, nobody cares. But we definitely find this to be very interesting, especially if she has audio recordings and tapes of Giuliani orchestrating this, because I would like to think that that's something that's super illegal. But that's just me, Rayyvana.
Yeah, I'm sure those tapes exist. I think that Rudy Giuliani is maybe the worst person positioned to cover up his tracks when he's doing things that are illegal. I mean, he's a bumbling idiot and just absolutely incapable of keeping his mouth shut. Definitely follows the trope of conservatives always doing their crimes on camera. So I'll be really interested to see how this case ends up.